Well, Suzy Makes Cupcakes.
Yeah.
So the second directorial.
Yeah.
The title does not give the show away at all. So
No.
I was expecting a cooking show, which I did not get when I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about it.
So Suzy Makes Cupcakes. Suzy has a very unique talent. She makes the best red velvet cupcakes you have ever tasted. She parlays that talent into getting even with her abusive husband, deceiving the local crime family, and potentially making out with a bowling bag full of cash.
Come on. Suzy, what's going on? You and me, we get along.
I don't think we do.
But I don't show up in a few hours, the boys. Well, they're gonna come looking for me. And the money. No one's gonna buy it.
Yeah, they will. Then I'll give him a cupcake.
Talent Talk is sponsored by Company of Rogues Actors Studio, New York-style training for actors at all stages of their journey. With our part-time classes and full-time masterclass program, Rogues provides a unique post-secondary option under the guidance of working professionals. Mentoring and developing professional film and theater artists since 1993, Calgary's longest-running independent studio offers practical hands-on classes in a positive, supportive environment. Check us out at corogues.com. Company of Rogues, passionate about the art of acting.
Hey everybody, I'm Gary McLean. You're watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please do go to the Talent Talk YouTube channel. Subscribe today. As always, the support's appreciated. Also, a reminder that this and previous episodes are on podcast mediums such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, just to name a few. Essentially, wherever you listen to the show is going to be there. Check it out. Finally, we have sponsors in this, our 5th season, which I'm very excited about. So I got to give a shout out to those folks. As, for example, today we have 6 Degrees Sound and Music, who is currently doing our sound recording and editing. Thank you to those folks. We have Workflow Film, who is currently, I'm looking in the camera right now, so thank you to those guys for helping us out today as well. We have Company of Rogues, which is a Calgary local film studio and acting school. We have Counting Coup Indigenous Film Academy, Herd of One Media, and finally, not finally, we have RJ Talent, which is also a Calgary local talent agency, and finally, ACTRA Alberta. So thank you to those fine folks for helping us out this season. Hopefully this will be just the start of a long relationship with those folks. Now, today's guest, he's been here before. He was here in season 1. He's done a lot since we last spoke with this guy. He's been doing some acting things on things like, Black Summer, Jan. Let's see what else he's got. I've got a list here because I couldn't remember all the things he's done. He's been on Tribal, Guilty Party with Kate Beckinsale, just to name a few. He's been producing a few things, doing some commercials, I'm sure. We'll find out for sure. And he's got a couple current projects which he delved into the directing side of things, which is the first time for him. The first short film that he directed was Operation Clean Slate, and the more recent one, which we'll be talking about today, is Suzy Makes Cupcakes. So please join me in welcoming Jayson Therrien.
Hi. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Welcome to the show again.
Again, yeah. It's always nice to be invited back a second time.
Right?
You didn't mess up the first time.
No. And you know, we've grown a lot since then as well as a show too, right? So and you as a producer, actor, director, all that kind of thing. So it's always good to catch up and make sure everybody is aware of what you've done. So how about you do catch us up a little?
Okay. What do you want to know?
Well, I mean, like I said, let's start talking about some of the shows that you've done since then. Like again, you had a bit of a series recurring role on Jan.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Jan Arden was great, man. I love working on that show. Those guys are so funny. And I guess they really liked what I did in season 1, and then they just kept bringing my character back. Character started off as like Mr. Miata, because I drove a Miata in the first one, and then they couldn't get the rights to clear that, so it ended up being Convertible Creep, and then I turned into Brad in season 2, and then season 3 was Brad the Town Jerk. So the character just kept evolving, and every year it was kind of like an ongoing gag that I would have a spat or fight with a different one of the lead casts. So first year was Jan and her mother and her sister, and the second year was her niece, and then it was her brother-in-law, the third season. So it's great. I don't know if that show will be back, but hopefully it does, and it's one of the better Canadian comedy shows out there.
It definitely had a bit of a following. Like a lot of people I talked to, they love the show, and people outside the film industry, obviously, as well. They really enjoyed the show. So it did something right for sure.
Jan should be an ambassador for Calgary. She's just great, and she lives here, and working with her is absolutely incredible. And I don't think people never looked at her as an actor before. They just looked at her as a musician, but she's quite good. She's really funny.
Yeah, she to be honest, I've only seen a few episodes. I haven't seen them all yet, but she's got some good timing, comedy wise, and some good lines, approaches there. Yeah, absolutely. What about Guilty Party?
Guilty Party was fun too. Yeah, I didn't actually get to work with Kate on that one.
That was going to be my next question. So.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet Kate. I met the other lead, Jules. Was working with her, and that was great. Yeah, it's fun. It was good material. I got to work with some good people, and same thing.
Have you heard anything about that, like in terms of they're going to do a second season, or?
No, I think it was a one and done. I think that was kind of their impression of it too, and I don't think it did great, which is too bad because it was well written, it was funny, it's a good show.
Okay. So. Well, let's delve into some of the new things you've been trying out. Let's talk Operation
Clean Slate.
Clean Slate, yes.
Yeah, I think the last time I was on the show, we were in prep for that. Like we hadn't shot it yet. So we shot it. It's a 22-minute teenage heist film about 4 teenagers that break into City Hall to wipe their parking tickets clean. And yeah, it did well for us. We got into a bunch of festivals. We won Edmonton International Festival for Alberta short narrative. So I was very happy about that. And we're potentially developing it into a series or a full-length feature.
Okay, so you're continuing on with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of, we do have a feature film script of that, and depending on who I talk to and what they're looking for, I always kind of like present that as an option of that we could get this going if they needed to. And we pitched it to Netflix, and we pitched it to CBC, and we pitched it to YTV, Young TV, I think. Yeah, YTV.
Yeah, I think so.
As well. So, and there was some interest, but there was also like, hey, we got something similar coming down the pipe, and 724 took a look at it as well. So people are interested, but nobody's really pulled the trigger on it.
And when were you just the director on that? Or were you producing as well on that?
Yeah, I mean, I produced it and I directed it. I kind of came up with like a little idea about like teenagers breaking into City Hall to wipe their parking tickets clean, and then a longtime collaborator of mine, Charles Elliott Netto, he went and rewrote the script, and then I worked with him over like 6 months and getting the script to where I needed, and so I produced it, raised the money, directed. That was my goal. It was my first time directing, and I wanted something that kind of like I was really passionate about, and so that was a 1.5-year process to get that all kind of said and done.
Okay.
From we started applying for grants, and we did get some grants, and we crowdsourced a little bit. And yeah, it was great. It was fun. 5-day shoot.
And was directing, mic hit. And was directing like something you've always kind of wanted to head towards, or?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try it. I was always like, I want to direct, because I would, being an actor, you're breaking down scenes and you're working with directors and you're wondering why they're making decisions, and you kind of go, well, I'd like to show these ideas on film that I have, And so, yeah, I was never ready, I don't think. Like, I think when I did it, I was definitely ready because I had, acting, producing, casting, first AD, and I had all that experience under my belt. So when I do direct, it's really, I don't think I feel more comfortable on a film set than when I'm directing. Like, for whatever reason, it just like, that's what I should be doing. And prior to that, I'm not sure that, I would feel that way because I didn't have all those other aspects and elements of the film world to like grab onto.
Now, for some folks outside the film industry, they might not realize what's actually entailed with the director in terms of, people are like, oh, well, he's sat behind the camera and told people what to do. Yeah, there's so much more to that. So maybe you can give us a bit more as, because you're involved in the post-production side of things and everything else, right? So maybe you can just give us a bit of a...
Yeah, I mean, essentially it's like, it's your vision, so how you want to direct. And there's tons of ways that you can direct a script. And also, too, making script changes. Like, hey, I like this. When we did Operation Clean Slate, I said to Charles, I'm like, I'm not really happy with the ending. We're like 2 days into filming. We're going to film the end in like 8 hours. And I was like, I'm not really happy with the ending, so let's change it. And he's like, what do you want? I said, well, if we're doing a comedy, I think there should be a joke at the end, and I don't feel that we have a big enough punch for a joke. So he went and he wrote like 3 different like endings and came to me at lunchtime and said, okay, this is what I got. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, that's the one. That's our ending. And he's like, great. He goes, I'm going to go give the new lines to the actors. You go tell the first AD that we're switching it up and start getting your shot list going. So yeah, I mean, it's all up here, and that's what the hard thing about, I think, directing is like you have it all up here, and how do I get that out to the people that I've hired in their departments to help me with that?
Right.
Wardrobe, production design, actors, right? One of the things that I feel that I do have a good handle on is I have a good handle on hiring talent, knowing talent, being able to, so assembling a really good team. And I think our teams have been amazing that we've done. So, and there's a bit of trust in them too. Like, you tell them your story and kind of communicate with them, cinematographer, communicate with them what you want. By giving them, I give examples. I'm like, okay, I want, like, this is the kind of vibe I want to go from this film. And this is the kind of like, transition I want from this to this. Because that's the other thing. I think a lot of times directors don't understand young directors don't understand that, like, you're transitioning, and how does that fit when you're transitioning from one scene to the next, and how is that going to cut together as well. So it's really like you are this big vision, and then you kind of like grab everyone to help you out with it and try to communicate to get it to best you can. And yeah, I'm sitting in on editing, I'm sitting in on sound design, I'm sitting in on what festivals we're going to submit to, like all that kind of stuff. So it is a I guess a big job. Some people say it's a hard job. I don't find it that hard, to be honest with you. I think when you're passionate, you put in the work, and just put in the work and think about it and stuff like that. And talk to the other guys that are professionals that you've hired and be like, hey, how do you feel about this? And one of my favorite questions is when someone will come to me and say, I really think we should do this, whether it be acting or wardrobe or, and I'll go, okay, sell me on it. Why? And, honestly, like 80% of the time, I don't agree with them, but that 20% that I do agree with them really makes a better movie.
Right.
When they're like, well, I think we should do this kind of lens, or I think we should do, we should try this color on this character or whatever like that. Or the actor's like, I really think that there's something here to explore. And like, okay. And it does, and you got to be open to that. You can't be a dictator. You have to be like, it's a collaborative effort. I mean, you're the leader of the collaborative effort, but you have to be open to suggestions.
Yeah, okay. And that was going to be one of my questions is, what kind of director do you feel you are? Obviously, somewhat collaborative.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love most about directing is that it is a collaborative effort. It is. It's like, I mean, I've hired this cinematographer or this production designer or this actor. I'm not, I am an actor, yes, but I mean, I've hired them for the specific reason. And so like, I want them to bring themselves to it. And I want to know. I'm not an expert in lenses and, lighting. I've hired that guy for that. Yeah. And so I have to be open, and I think it is collaborative. And that's my favorite part about directing is that a bunch of these people that are really talented in their respected departments come together to essentially make the director's vision.
Right.
And if one, department fails, it's kind of like the whole thing fails, to be honest with you. Because at the end of the day, you want to make the best possible film. And if there's something that's lacking, then it'll show, whether that's acting, whether that's lighting or sound or whatever it happens to be. If it's lacking, it's going to pull you out of the story, and it's going to hurt everyone's department.
Right. And how are you when it comes to, say, improv or, basically improv on set?
Yeah, I think that sometimes, there's a limit. Like what you can do. Like you need to stay kind of like reined in, but sometimes you can get some really good moments from that, and I'm okay for that. An example that I learned from another director, Ron Murphy, on Jan, is that we're shooting the scene, and he took us to the side, and he said, okay, guys, I don't mind if you improv, but let's do it right here. Let's work it together. Let's hear it out loud. And so we started to do it, and I improv'd a couple lines, sitting in the Miata, and Jan throws her ice cream at me, and she misses, and I say, best lay off the ice cream anyway was the line. And I was like, best lay off the ice cream anyways, chubby. And Jan turns to me and goes, ooh, that's really good. Keep it. Fuck you, but keep it. And I was like, and it's a better moment, but the director was open to it. And so from that, I'm like, I'm open to it. So I've had, especially if you're doing comedy, and I generally kind of gravitate towards some sort of comedic element in my movies. I think you have to allow that, but I don't know if it's necessarily improv. I think it's like thought about beforehand. Maybe it's not on the script.
Sure.
And you bring it, but I'm open to it. And I think you just got to be careful to like rein it in, because sometimes it can get like really out of control. But yeah, again, I've hired these people for a reason. It's because they're good. I mean, if it's dramatic and the script is solid, then maybe less improv. But if it's more comedic, then more improv. I guess it depends,
right,
on the material. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's fair. So when it comes going back to kind of your acting side of things, obviously you've had the opportunity to work with a lot of directors.
Yeah.
Have you seen certain aspects from other directors where you're like, okay, I'm not going to direct that way?
Yeah, but I've also been like, I like to focus on the good. So I just casted a film called This Too Shall Pass, directed by Rob Grant, produced by Michael Peterson. And Michael was very generous in saying, hey man, you can come to set whenever you want. Like it's a free, open invite to come to set. And so I did come to set, and I watched Rob work. And there was a lot of things that Rob did that I liked. It was like, I really liked a bunch of things that he did. I guess the biggest no-no I would say about directing is if you lose, so the first day of filming Operation Clean Slate, our sound guy he messed up the sound. We literally had to fire him the first day, first scene. And so this is my first time directing, and I wanted to lose my mind. But my producer at the time, he was like, hey man, don't worry, we're going to fix this. If I would have lost my mind, that just would have spread like wildfire between the crew, cast and crew. So as a director, you need to be focused, you need to be professional, you need to and have fun, but don't ever if things aren't going to go, things never go the way you want them to go on film sets. They don't. There's curveballs all the time, and it's just a matter of dealing with it. But always staying calm and always being working together, talk to your people, get back on track. When this is where the AD producer comes in, is when I'm directing. I'm I have already built in what scenes I'll be okay to lose, or how to condense my shot list if I have to, because I need to make my day. Yeah. Right? If I'm asking people to work, I can't have people working 14 hours. I just can't.
Yeah.
12 hours is kind of where I like to be. So yes, I more so, that's the one thing that I definitely watch from other directors, is letting people do their job and make them feel as comfortable as possible, because you will get the best work out of them. Let them feel like they're part of the collaboration, which I'm okay with. You'll get better work out of them.
Okay.
So things I don't look for directors that I wouldn't do. I look for things that I would do, things that would work in certain situations.
Okay.
And so yeah, the answer is, yeah, I do really pay attention to directors. I have been paying attention to directors for a while, and any opportunity I can see directors work, I do that. I also feel that from producing, I was really lucky early to produce for a lot of really good Calgary directors, Brett Furster, John Kissack, Mark, which you and I both know. So I feel watching them and being beside them and shotgun with them also really helped me. And they're really good directors.
Yeah.
All three of those guys, in their own right. Different, but good.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't mind working with Mark again.
Yeah, Mark sent me out to Montreal a couple years ago to do a show, work on a show for him. And I was like, sure, buddy. No problem.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was out, he put me up in Montreal for a week.
Okay.
And we did the split, and it was really well written. I like his writing a lot, actually. he has a short script that I would mind shooting, but require a bit of a budget.
Fair enough, as they all do.
Yeah.
Well, Suzy Makes Cupcakes.
Yeah.
So the second directorial.
Yeah.
The title does not give the show away at all. So
No.
I was expecting a cooking show, which I did not get when I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about it.
So Suzy Makes Cupcakes. Suzy has a very unique talent. She makes the best red velvet cupcakes you have ever tasted. She parlays that talent into getting even with her abusive husband, deceiving the local crime family, and potentially making out with a bowling bag full of cash. I've not said that ever before.
Not in the title.
No, never. I never pitched the synopsis.
No.
And that's what it's about, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's again, watching the trailer, it was pretty fun to watch, which, by the way, the trailer is on YouTube if anybody wants to go check that out. At least I think it is.
It's on Vimeo, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, Vimeo. So,
yeah, it's around.
Yeah. And I'm assuming this is another one where you've kind of got the potential transition to make it into a feature or...
Yeah, that's not it. Like, I kind of didn't want that. I just wanted something different than I directed before, because I'm really pitching myself as a feature film director now, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, but they're like, you only got one thing kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I talked to a couple people that I knew that had invested in my last couple movies and went to them with this script and said, hey, would you be willing to throw in some money? So I ended up in Actra Alberta. Thank you, Actra Alberta, wherever you are. Hi. Actra Alberta, the MIP program. They kicked in some money. They also kicked in money for my first film too. So I'm very grateful to ACTRA, who I'm happy that they're supporting you as well.
Yes.
They and just went to them and was able to get a budget together and was like and shot this because I wanted something else to shoot. I also was going crazy, not shooting, not directing. And it wasn't like to be a big thing, but it's people are asking. Like, people that have seen it are like, hey, is this a bigger thing? Like, this could be fun. And I think the writer, Bethany Maines, she has a feature of, like, she has a novel of this. So maybe she could write me a feature, I don't know, special. I mean, if there's a desire for us to, go further with this story, I'd totally be in. I love these characters.
Yeah, and again, watching the trailer, it seemed like a fun little film for sure.
I mean, I love it, but, I guess the audience will tell me once we start screening at festivals and stuff. So,
which, speaking of, I'm assuming it's starting to make its rounds now?
Yeah, so we opened had our world premiere, I guess, in Wyoming International Film Festival, which, if you're a filmmaker and you're looking to submit your film somewhere, Wyoming, surprisingly, I was like following them. They have a fantastic film festival. I didn't get to go, but I really wish that I did. So it opened in Wyoming on July 5th, I think, in their crime section. And it was nominated for Best Overall Short and Best Screenplay.
Okay.
And then we screened in Sacramento last weekend, Sacramento Underground Film Festival. And then we got acceptance into South Dakota International Film Festival and Edmonton International Film Festival.
Nice. Yeah.
So we're hoping for Calgary so that the hometown can see the movie. So Calgary, if you're listening... yeah, so it's starting. I think we submitted to 30 festivals, and we'll see where, who resonates with it and who wants it and who doesn't.
Okay, no, that's fair. Going back to Operation Clean Slate for a second, where can people watch that? Is it available for public right now?
It's not available for public. I mean, if anyone knows me and want to reach out to me on social media, I'll send you a link. I don't mind. I think we're kind of contemplating. I have to talk to the other producers about just like putting it out there. But I don't know if that's the smartest move, why we're still pitching it to networks.
Yeah, okay.
So, but if you reach out to me on social I will send it to you.
Fair enough. So a little bit of a sidetrack. Like, you've been involved in casting for quite a long time.
Yeah.
However, I feel that industry has kind of picked up for you over recent years.
Yeah, so I've always casted my own projects because I felt like I just knew actors better than... I shouldn't say that. I did hire a casting director to do my 2 feature films that I produced. Same girl, she's great. But I've always been casting like the smaller stuff that I did, my web series, the shorts, all that stuff. And then I've always liked it. I've always liked working with actors, reading across from them, doing the audition process, which you don't do anymore, unfortunately, right now. I think this project I'm casting right now, I think they're going to do that. I'm really excited about doing that. And we did a little bit of it on this short that I'm producing called The Lily and the Scorpion. We did in-person callbacks. The director was in from New York, and I was able to read with the potential leads. So I missed that. I love that. And then Jason Wan Lim, who I believe you're going to have on the show later on. He's got something coming. He hired me to start casting his feature films, and I loved it. And then I guess people thought that I was good at it, and so people keep offering me bigger projects to cast, and we're doing one night now. We're looking across the country for names, which I've never done before, and it's kind of interesting to like know these people and suggest these people, to be like, okay, who do you think we have a budget, we want to get some people, who do you think would be good for us, like them to be Canadian, and people are taking my suggestions on it, like producers and directors. So we hired a couple on my last project that I did. I was like, what about this person for this role, and you worked with them on this movie, so what do you think, can that, and they're like, that's a great idea, and they hired them.
Okay.
I love casting, and I think my focus, like 2 years ago, I switched it to like directing and casting. That's what I wanted to do. Less acting. I mean, it also makes things more difficult to act because I'm not going to act in something that I cast. It's just conflict of interest and the optics of it. So that limits my acting opportunities when I'm casting them.
Fair enough.
So I've done a little less casting, but my focus is definitely like directing and casting as well. Like casting is kind of the secondary to that.
Okay.
But I just keep getting work. I don't know why.
And because there isn't really a lot of casting directors locally in Calgary, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's essentially Rhonda and Stu, but really those are the two. Calgary.
Yeah, I mean Pat as well, and I mean there's a
Pat
few.
Chow, yeah.
There's a few of them, but I also think I'm good at it, and I know the talent. Like Rhonda, she's the queen, man. But past Rhonda, like I don't know if anyone else from being acting, from producing, from being in here knows the local talent. I've casted, I don't know, probably 10 features in 2 years. I would say 10 features, maybe 9. This will be my 10th coming up here in 2 years. So I've seen a lot of tape. Like I like to give opportunities. Like maybe somebody that you don't think that they're going to be this character. You're like, I don't know, let's see. Like the director may not see it. I'll watch it. I'll know. I also there's a guy that we cast, I don't know, probably a couple features ago. I've been watching his auditions get better, and better over the last year and a half. And I was like, I think this is your guy. I think he's ready. Directors liked him, hired him.
Perfect.
So I think, I think I do have a good handle on local talent. And I also think that I'm trying to make them better by giving them opportunities, even like they may not get the role, or just give them a shot and see what happens. And if they're not good enough, that's okay. Director doesn't see it. We'll try next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is talent here. That's for sure. I think we need, as actors, we need to be more serious about acting. Like stop asking for extensions, stop, get your tape in if you want to act, or tell your agent to take you off. Be like, hey man, I have people that get submitted all the time. I want to see them. I haven't seen them. 2 years. I haven't got an audition out of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you got people out there that just die for the audition, and you know who those people are. And so you start like leaning on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Over the last few years, obviously you've kind of developed your relationships with people within the industry and everything else. And that's kind of taken you to some travels, I think, as well. Like you've been down to LA a few times, things like that.
Yeah.
Just wanted to see how that, has that been fruitful, I guess is where I'm kind of going with that. Those discussions that you've had with folks outside of
yes
local
and
industry.
No. Yeah, yes and no. Like I have been to LA and took meetings in LA, that's for sure. And Toronto as well, and Vancouver. It has been. I think that there's been like a really good development coming like from the Banff World Media Festival when I was up there last month. There is a company that has approved me to direct for them, which I'm excited about. They just don't know what project that is or when it's coming, because they are looking for Calgary directors for their films, and they're pretty good budgets, like they're decent budgets, especially for my first feature. So yes, I believe that there will be something from it. Nothing has come from it yet.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Next on the docket for Jayson Therrien.
Next is going to be directing a feature film, man. That is my goal. I got a lot of potential options, opportunities, just waiting for one of them to kick in. Maybe some private funding to shoot a film, maybe this company out of Toronto. But that to me is really where I want to be, and that's what I want to do. So that's my focus, and I'm feeling it's really, really close.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on that. Hopefully that pans out for you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us on the show today, and
Of course.
as always, best of success.
Thanks, brother.
There we go. And for the folks watching, thanks for tuning in as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and we will see you next week. New guest. Take care, all.